In this video, we will learn the essential elements of a service contract and how to create one. Disclaimer: the information contained here has been prepared by Civitas Strategies and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, or financial advice. The Civitas Strategies team has used reasonable efforts in collecting, preparing, and providing this information, but does not guarantee its accuracy, completeness, adequacy, or currency. The publication and distribution of this information are not intended to create, and receipt does not constitute, an attorney-client or any other advisory relationship. Reproduction of this information is expressly prohibited. Only non-commercial uses of this work are permitted. In today's conversation, we will look at what a service contract is and why it's important to your business. We will also consider the things that should be included in a contract and then look at a few examples. Let's start with what is a child care contract. A service contract is a legally binding document that outlines the agreement made between party responsible for payment of child care services and the child care business for care for the family's child or children. Child care contracts are crucial for child care businesses because they establish clear expectations and responsibilities for both parties. Beyond clarifying key details, this legally binding document will protect both parties in the case of a dispute. The following guide will walk you through what a service contract is, what it should include and why, and how to get started with creating your own. What should I include in a service contract? Service contracts can differ between child care businesses because each individual has their own way of doing things. However, all agreements should include basic information about the client and doula business, as well as an outline of the services provided and responsibilities of both parties, such as names and contact information of the doula. Names and contact information for the doula. Names and contact information for the party responsible for payment if different than client. Birth information. Hours of care and any restrictions or limitations on care, for example, certain days of the week and maximum number of hours per day. Names of any other fees charged, how they are incurred and when due. For example, late payment fee and cancellation fee. Payment types accepted and payment schedule if applicable, for example, deposit, installments, and final payment. Termination procedure. And signatures of client or party responsible for payment if not client and the doula. Why is this basic information important to a service contract? In order for a document to be considered a contract, it must contain the elements mentioned. Consider why these parts are important over the next few slides. Names and contact information of the child care business and family/party responsible for payment. For this document to serve as a legally binding contract, and it is if written correctly, it must include information between the two parties entering into the contract. In this instance, the client or party responsible and paying for the doula services and the doula. Birth information. While the client is entering an agreement with a doula business, the contract centers around the care of parent and baby. Including details like the baby's due date ensures the contract covers the specific birth for which the services are being provided. Terms of care and any restrictions or limitations on care. Specify the services that will be provided in the agreement and the time frame in which they will be delivered. For example, if you scheduled a set number of appointments with the client, then you will list those days and time. If you will be away at any point during the duration of the contract, list that information here. By clearly stating your availability, clients know when they can reach you. Payment schedule. Just as other businesses list terms of payment in their contracts, so should a doula service contract. Clearly state when payment is due and the acceptable forms of payment. We highly suggest including 2 clauses on the following topics in this section of the contract. Advance payment for care. Example: the client will pay for care in advance. By having clients pay for care in advance, they then pay for the service before it is used. This ensures you can pay the costs incurred by performing the services. When doulas allow clients to pay after the care is provided, they run the risk of not being paid for services. Establishing this practice right from the start builds the business stability. Advance payment for end of contract. Example: the family will pay for the last 2 weeks upon signing this contract. This amount is non-refundable and is not contingent on if the family gives written notice. A standard practice is to ask clients for a notice period before canceling doula services. However, sometimes clients do not give that notice and other times the business may need to end the service arrangement more quickly. By requesting a retainer payment upon signature, for whatever time frame makes the most sense for your doula business, you can more easily sustain a sudden cancellation. Termination procedure. Every contract must describe how the contract will end. The contract should explicitly state how the client should end the contract and describe how you will end the contract. Include language that you may end the contract at will, which allows you the flexibility to terminate the contract when and if you need to do so. Signatures of clients and the doula. It's recommended that clients sign the contract under a clause that indicates by their signature they are agreeing to the terms of the contract and include a statement that states they have read and agree to follow the doula's policies. This signature should be dated and then signed by the doula after the client has signed. Signatures underneath the part of the contract that says they agree, also known as the attestation, enable the contract to become binding. Need help? You can find examples of service contracts on the internet, or you can start with the template available in the guide that accompanies this tool, which was created by a seasoned doula. Looking for more info? For more information about the New Jersey Doula Initiative, reach out to njdoula@civstrat.com or go to njdoulabusinessresources.com. There you'll find access to free resources to support your doula business. And be sure to visit the Civitas Strategies YouTube channel for more valuable resources to support you and your business.